What's going on, YouTube? Time for another recap. Another fun little day here. Fun as in sarcasm. A little bit of bias swapping, but the algos played out. Our elite systems play out. And let's just get right into it, man. So today we had a good pre-market call out here through the employment report. I was going to go short under 59.50 all the way back down. I only wanted about 8 points because we had a couple algos from my system, showed exactly what the entry exit is, blah, blah, blah. So we had a really good pre-market call there, started with a few thousand green on the day for the Discord calls. We had two different outlooks. I wanted to go long to 586.32 out of the gate, like a quick low scalp. You can see how close we made it there before we went back down. So as we called, we had over-unders here at the bottom of the golden pocket, which we will go over here in a minute. But under 585 was our short bias all the way back down to 580, the 100 EMA. So if you've watched this channel or watched, I don't know, the last 20-some videos, we've been calling for the 3-down follow-through down on SPY to the 100 EMA daily. On the last how many videos we've been calling for this, and we finally tagged it today. We also gave away a little bit of a day trade. Anything underneath the 585 was going to net us all the way down. 50 points on ES, and we drew this pretty picture for everybody here. We said to take it under the 100 fib, under the data algo. Why did we say that? Let's get into it. Let's show you how we did it. So with that 100 EMA finally coming into that SPY, getting a little bit of the bounce, we had a couple really good plays to play. So let's take it to the SPY. And if you watched my last YouTube video here, we explained on the daily chart, and we gave you this over-under right here. I wanted to see it to the golden pocket before we went down, but we covered the two scenarios. It's over under the blue zone. So you were either going to get a holiday push back up, and it would give us a little bit of a candle that would be above the blue up to the golden pocket because we fibbed out our nice little high range candle here like so. And the best case scenario for us would have been off the blue daily fat body doji into the golden pocket down to the 100 as we said. And I wanted to go a little long into that and back down. And on the futures, right? So we called that on ES as well. We went over to ES because the candles are obviously different. Bam. And same rules apply. So over under the last doji body is going to look a little different, obviously because it's ES, trades much longer, but we said over under the doji body of the prior day. And if you took that into consideration, we obviously had a very beautiful resistance check, and that is our last YouTube video. So anything under right here of 5954, we were heading down to the 100 EMA in the green, which on YouTube we've been calling for that for quite some time. So congrats to everybody that paid attention. I had a few members closing out their puts today right into the 100 EMA swing calls. About 5 of you messaged me as well. Congrats on all of our Discord members who are holding down to that 100 EMA. So the day trades, the scalps, the calls. Let's get into our day trade practices here. Then we'll talk about the macro. Boom, boom, and why we were short. So we had drawn these pretty pictures here. For us, this is the report candle, obviously, and you know how we are with golden pockets. So if you take your Fibonacci high, low, you get this beautiful golden pocket from the 1 or 5 minute chart today. So between 585.91 and 584.61, we noticed that we had our pre-market long close. So we called it short on the employment report before it happened there. We had that nice little short. And then we said long back to the golden pocket. So anything above the 582.50, we're going to go long into the golden pocket. Now, I wanted to go a little bit higher than the golden pocket today. As you can see, my blue zone right here, I wanted to hold the blue zone long for the first one and scalp up to the 1 minute open gaps. Now, we have a pair of gaps here, and this is why we were looking at this. SPY last trade day. So if I go back 5 day, 5 minute will work. It'll be a faster load. But on the 1 minute chart, you're going to see this dash line right here. At last trade day lows, that's 586.32. There's a 1 minute gap on both QQQ and SPY on the last prior trade day. So we mark those out. Here, well, it's not on this drawing set. These always change from box to cell on the old. Nope, it just randomly deleted everything, I think. Definitely did. Well, there's one here on Qs as well. On the minute chart, we can go drop back down. We're not going to be able to see it, I don't think, on this day. It's a TOS. Nope. Just for funsies, we'll go back and put it on because for whatever reason, that's now gone. TOS just deletes my drawings all the time. We get used to it. So here's our gap finder. Shows you on the 1 minute chart. Boom, boom. And that's where we wanted to see it kind of come up to today. So, oh, it reloaded all the way back. That's why. Jeez, so fun. So that open right here, 512.35. So again, that's a 1 minute gap here on QQQ's last trade day near that bottom. And we wanted to see that price action again, just from the data candle here. We draw the high lows on the fibs, and we wanted to see it above the golden pocket. Now, we know that the golden pocket is the biggest over-under ever, so we did hit target. We called it long out of the gate over yesterday's lows. We called it long down here from the bottom of the data candle back to the golden pocket. So in Discord and in there, we called two different 10s, a 55 pointer, and then our last leg up long call, we had some legs on to those gaps, and we just didn't quite make it, which is fine. So let's talk about the other two outlooks we had on our fibs and how we played them. So we drew these pretty pictures on right here, as we like to do. And the last couple that I just deleted was the long from the 100. So even if you missed all these fun stuff, we missed the shy on the gap there in that 1 minute. And then the lower here breakdown, we said we're going to get speed and shorts underneath 582.50, like we said, and it's going to come down to the 100 EMA. So even if you missed the early morning stuff and then we didn't get the algo, that's fine. Our bias swap was underneath the data candle low. So we short the break here, and we want to go magnet to the 100 EMA daily, which is this green level right here at 580, which we had called on the X, and we've been calling on YouTube for quite some time. 25 points to the downside on ES. Now, this is where our biggest trade was today. We rode this down about 32 of these points right here from my entry of the break, and we got a really good bottom out on the second candle here. So that was our biggest trade of the day, all the way down on ES, 20-some points call to the 1618. And then I said, for our elite systems and how we use Fibonacci, if you fib the box out here, it fails the golden pocket. When this break occurs for weakness, we will continue to the 1618 of Fibonacci, and generally that is a bounce point. So when you see the 1618 hit, take the opposite trend back up to the 100 fib and look for the next trade. So again, we called it beautiful long off the 100 EMA because that's an obvious bounce point since we haven't been there in over 150 bars, right? So remember our last YouTube videos here, you can check back at any of the other last 20, you'll catch this. I said over the 100 EMA, we came back and we shied it, did not hit it, shied it big time because we caught the 50 SMA in the red dash line, and then finally broke structure. Now, again, we've been looking for the 3 down for continuation, and we said the 3 down doesn't have to continue, right? But when it does, it's going to be the 100 EMA. All-time high push 1, lower high, push 2, lower low on push 2, back up, called the short back down to the moving averages. We called this big red day right here, and 100 EMA finally hit on the target. We've been waiting for that forever. Now, and again, over under the blue zone is what we did. And then the bounce point here for the day trade is why we called it, because we haven't seen the 100 EMA in quite some time. So the time for us and an intraday scalpers, as we are, when it hits the 100 EMA, we should back test in over under. Now, I wanted the V reversal again. I still wanted this to hit the 100 EMA, come back up, fill those 1 minute algos here at 586.32. Didn't happen. But of course, our over under is going to be the bottom of the data candle. So if we are not trading inside the data candle where we fibbed everything out, we are not looking to the long side because we said short anything under it, which means if we back test that resistance and continue, well, it's right back down. So the 100 EMA becomes your over under along with the 1618. If we randomly start to hold this 100 EMA through the afternoon and it chops back up, great, let it do its thing. The market has already moved its 2%. That's usually a generally large move for the day. So if you take current low up to yesterday's close, you see 1.77-ish% on SPY, 2.25% on QQQ. That's pretty much the 2% move. Now, when we're underneath an over-under level like this, you're going to see it come back down to prior support, right? So our resistance check at the algo for data pushes us back down to here for the 100 EMA. This is where it has to make a choice. And we got to use our indicators. Now, the one thing I did mention on the cluster gaps on VIX for the YouTube videos, the volatility index, which we'll bring over here, has a bunch of open 5-minute gaps, right? And we covered this on a couple of our YouTube videos where when the VIX decides to pull back up and the standard deviation will swap to the upside, as we discussed in the last YouTubes, we got the standard deviation to the upside swap. We covered over the standard deviation center daily and weekly, those big dashed white lines. This is a daily, this is a weekly standard deviation. So once that was recovered on standard deviation, we usually head to the +1s, okay? And as far as the intraday is concerned, we had a couple different reasons to, be a little fearful, but We said 2035, and then you have a cluster of gaps right here that the algos will drag this up to, hopefully into the next week. This is where the volatility index will be. Even at today, if we continue under the 100 EMA with speed, VIX will panic and we will get $21. So anything over $20, we're still looking for this cluster of algorithm gaps, 2093, 95, and 97 to fill. And we should get this one today, even though we almost hit it. We got very close, 2035. So we missed it by about 4 cents. Now the VIX is putting in a little bit of a trend lower high here, just kind of consolidating. It's Friday. It's a holiday week. We were closed on the U.S. stock market yesterday. We might not have the oomph to really carry follow through. It's a Friday. Fail breakout Friday is something that people, tend to deal with. Fail follow through Friday. We just don't have the volume. Plus, it's a holiday week. So if you're a pro trader, a lot of the time, a lot of people take off, especially the day traders. So the volume in retail is lower. And the big boys are way out. So they'll take off Thursday, Friday, get the extra Saturday, Sunday, so on and so forth. So we predicted an over-under here for the last part of the day for our group. We said over-under here. If we jam over this at any point in time, which is still possible, unless we are trending underneath now the 100 EMA, SPY still has a little bit of a bounce attempt to come back up, and we did leave that open. The 100 EMA should be a good bounce point for us, even if it is temporary, right? So... I didn't go to the daily. So last but not least, we did talk a lot about bouncing this 100 EMA when we finally come into tact with it, and then our continuation for my final call of anywhere between 8 to 12% pullback minimum during this all-time high correction. Now, this does bring into sentiment. If you want to learn a little bit more about my market sentiment swinging, I will be streaming live tomorrow on YouTube at noon Central Time for our part 2 sentiment. We're going to go over why January reds are bad, what can happen to the Republican takeover the market, and how our poor Don man has been set up, and how this market's going to come all the way down in 26, and it's not going to look good for the presidency for Republicans. So they're going to spin it. You heard it here first. They're going to spin that to the negative side, but it's just market rotation. It has nothing to do with either. So we'll talk about the sentiment and why it's going to happen. And we're going to talk a lot about what's going to happen here for continuation, because if we do get the pullback, I shouldn't say if, it's when we get our correction from the all-time high. I did speculate the 200 moving averages to be where the earliest bounce could be. That's 8.79%-ish away, 200 EMA and SMA, daily chart right here in the purples. So I still think we're going to be heading back down. We got our first target, that 100 EMA. This can be a temporary bounce point. Let's see if this bouncing ball that kind of broke that floor today comes up again, even if it's temporary for the next couple of days, does this, walks itself down to the 200s, and we might have a red close January. We'll see. If we get a low close January, we're early. We're only 10 days into January, so hard to tell. We're not even 2 weeks in yet, because if the 100 EMA is the bounce point, we'll start ranging back up. And if we do close green or very lackluster on January, I'll tell you what's going to happen for the year. So it's going to be an interesting one. I have a high expectation of volatile slam up, slam downs for 2025. This is what it's going to look like. And then our almost guaranteed straight down 2026. And again, stick to the channel, like, subscribe for if you want to see my sentiment outlooks. I'll be posting all my swings for the end of that 25, 26. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what the options that we play here as well at Boiler Trading. You want to trade with us live? You want to see us break it down to the Discord, plus live stream every single morning at 8 a.m. Central. Links in the description. Come join us. As far as the remainder of the day, watch that 100 EMA over under. It's the only thing we could possibly do. So if any of that sounds good, we'll see you in the live stream of the Discord. If not, see you on the next YouTube video. You guys take care. Have a good weekend.